Jesus said to his disciples, "I say this to you who are listening. Love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who treat you badly. To the man who slaps you on one cheek, present the other cheek too. To the man who takes your cloak from you, do not refuse your tunic. Give to everyone who asks you, and do not ask for your property back from the man who robs you. Treat others as you would like them to treat you. If you love those who love you, what thanks can you expect? Even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who do good to you, what thanks can you expect? For even sinners do that much. And if you lend to those from whom you hope to receive, what thanks can you expect? Even sinners lend to sinners to get back the same amount. Instead, love your enemies and do good and lend without hope of return. You'll have a great reward, and you'll be sons of the Most High, for He Himself is kind to the ungrateful and to the wicked. Be compassionate as your Father is compassionate. Do not judge, and you'll not be judged yourselves. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned yourselves. Grant pardon, and you will be pardoned. Give, and there will be gifts for you. A full measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap, because the amount you measure out is the amount you will be given back. I'm not advocating graffiti, but I saw something written on a wall once that made me smile. Someone had written, "Love your enemies," Luke 6:28, and underneath it, in a different pen, someone else had written, "It drives them mad," Paul 1986. Made me smile. I don't think it's quite the spirit in which Jesus gave the instruction, the invitation to love our enemies, but it made me smile nevertheless. Mind you, I'm not sure that I always read that passage in the gospel about loving enemies and slap cheeks in the spirit that Jesus intended us to either. I've begun to question my understanding of it. Somebody posted a comment on Facebook a while ago, and it just questioned the speed with which we can rush into explaining away some of Jesus's more challenging teachings by saying, "Look, he's just exaggerating. He doesn't mean us to take it seriously," by which I hope we mean don't take it literally, because we're always meant to take it seriously. But now I'm not sure. I always was. I was always quite confident that there was exaggeration in the, if someone slaps you on one cheek, give them a free shot at the other cheek as well. And if someone steals from you, don't look for your property back. But now I'm not sure. Now I'm not sure that it is just exaggeration. But if it's not, what are we meant to take from it? How are we meant to read it? Literally? That we really should turn the other cheek and let someone strike at us? I'm not sure that's quite what Jesus meant either. You know, the more I've been thinking about it recently, I don't think that gospel passage is really about action at all. I think it's about relationship. I think it's about real love, not really about the behaviors that are sometimes associated with it. I think it's about loving people to such an extent that the behaviors that Jesus talks about in the gospel begin to make some kind of sense. They only make sense in that kind of loving relationship. I still think there's some exaggeration involved though. I don't think violence has any place in a relationship. Certainly not a loving relationship. And and how stealing from someone you love can ever be seen as an expression of love. Well, I'm not sure about that either. But you know, when you love someone, when you have a loving relationship with someone, you don't keep score. You don't seek revenge. You don't look for opportunities for vengeance, do you? You share your very self with them, not just your possessions. I think that's what Jesus is inviting. Learn to love one another where these things begin to make sense. And why? Because that's how God loves us. Be compassionate as your Father is compassionate. Love as God loves. If only we could. But we can try. We can work towards it. We can become more familiar with the nature of God's love and try and practice that love in our dealings with one another. That's what Jesus is calling for. Love others as God loves you. You know what they say? If you want to know how well you understand something, try teaching it. Maybe there's something of that in that gospel as well. In trying to love as God loves, in trying to reveal God's love in our dealings with one another, we come to a deeper understanding of God's love ourselves. And coming to know God's love more clearly. God's love not just for us, but for everyone. Maybe we can't help but not see people as our enemy, but just see them as beloved sons and daughters of God and begin to treat them accordingly.